I think 2022 is going to be a big year. With Bitcoin mining, it's going to be a big year. 2022 is going to be a big year. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see that double, and maybe triple, maybe double. The real change agents here, though, the change agents are going to be the Bitcoin exchanges, right? So watch and see what happens with NYDIG, with Genesis, with Coinbase, with Binance, with FTX, with Square, with PayPal, with Robinhood. Okay, that's one part of the economy where they've got just a huge amount of influence and incentive to get much more pro-Bitcoin. And the other group will be the Bitcoin miners. You'll have 24. By mid-2022, we have to have 24. We'll have 20 by first quarter. And they have huge incentive. And I think that those two groups will be the prime actors in the public markets. Who's going to step up to the plate? I don't know. It's anybody's guess. I think, 1/3 constituency here that'll matter will be Bitcoin banks, Silvergate, and other FDIC approved banks. They've got a green light to get into US dollar stable coins, and Silvergate's doing Bitcoin financing, Bitcoin-backed financing right now. Silvergate is not the biggest bank in the world. This is an example of anybody could get in this business. JP Morgan could get in this business and issue $1 trillion worth of stable coins. Or they could get edged out and Goldman Sachs could do it and JP Morgan could not. Or Bank of America could. Or they could all sit on their hands and Silvergate could become, they could go get bigger than Tether in 12 months, and then they could get 10 times bigger. Okay, and by the way, you could see Tether and Circle, they could cross over, come public, get licensed, right? You've got this maneuvering where the industry is rotating from entrepreneurs to institutions, and the entrepreneur is Tether or Binance or FTX. The institutions are JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. But then you've got the crossovers. Coinbase got public. They had to leave behind some baggage. They weren't able to offer the same suite of services as FTX and Binance. If FTX and Binance come through that gate, right, they'll look different. MicroStrategy went through that gate, right? There's a price to pay. There's a risk to take. This is where you'll see the leaders, right? They'll stake their claim, and there'll be massive winners and there'll be losers, and some people will get squeezed out of this industry that were early on very influential. And there are others that are going to come out of nowhere and they're going to blow up and become really big. And then maybe you see some big players, like look at Fidelity, which has moved into, the Bitcoin industry. They might move in 10x more, right? They might stay where they are. There's really no telling, right? That because the future is unknown, to a certain degree, I can predict someone will do it. You can predict there's going to be a MicroStrategy, but you couldn't say which company would be the MicroStrategy. You could predict there's going to be a Square Cash App, but it could have been any of 3 or 4 players, but it turned out to be Square. There's a niche. Just like you could predict there is going to be a crypto asset like Bitcoin, but there's like 37 tries and then one works, and that's the one that fills up the ecosystem. It's path dependent. So there are these large vacuums. The world wants a killer mobile lightning digital wallet that moves US dollar stablecoins and Bitcoin at the speed of light. The world wants that. The world wants a US dollar stablecoin issued by an FDIC insured bank. Maybe there's room for 1 or 2. By the way, the first one, the second one get really big. If you actually study what happened with ETFs, BITO came out. They did $1 billion in the first few days, right? And then Valkyrie came out. They did 50 million, like 20x smaller. And then the third came out, right? Van Eck, I think. And they were smaller than Valkyrie. The fourth, the long tail, there could be 100 more that come out, and they're going to be 1%ers. And so there's this niche, and you got to hit it, right? You got to hit those areas, and those companies get really big. And right now there's opportunity, there's risk. It kind of makes it fun to watch, but clearly it's going to happen at some reasonable rate.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
2022 is going to be a big year. With Bitcoin mining, it's going to be a big year, right? This is another, Bitcoin miners could get really big. One miner could go and buy 3 more miners in a hurry. One miner could go out there, raise billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion, and buy 4 billion of Bitcoin. Bitcoin could move up. The miner triples. You have a $30 billion Bitcoin miner. Lots of stuff happens. What I say to the miners, when I talk to them is you don't want to be the cash miner that's mining 1,000 Bitcoin or 1,500 Bitcoin a year or 2,000 Bitcoin a year for the next decade. The other day on the phone in 15 minutes, I bought 1,400 Bitcoin. 15 minutes. I'm not waiting around for a year. I'm going to do it in a day. But you know what? I'm going to buy your next decade worth of Bitcoin in a month if I can. Or I'm going to buy your next 100 years of Bitcoin in the year, right? So this entire game is going to move more aggressively in 2022, but not for everybody. Some people are going to be conservative. There's Bitcoin miners that are going to sell their Bitcoin. Not smart, stupid. If you basically are private and you sell the Bitcoin, then you're hoping that you're going to be competitive in the year, 2027. Not likely. Because in the year 2023, someone's going to raise $30 billion, buy up all the equipment, squeeze you out of the market, take the hash rate up. You're going to be like one of those guys that's running, the 4th generation back equipment, at 50x less efficient than other. So, you don't really want to be playing that game. And the same is true on the exchange side, right? I mean, if there's anything you learn from Jeff Bezos, is he taught you something, which is go big or go home, right? Once you figure out what the market is, you're playing to win. And this is why I say, to people, if you're a small business or you're a small investor and you're not sure, do I want to be in Bitcoin or a business related to Bitcoin? I'm well, buy Bitcoin. Because if you buy Bitcoin, you've got the same rights I have. And no matter what happens, you're going to be along for the ride. And there could be a brutal knockdown, drag out fight. And when Amazon and Microsoft and Apple and Facebook are going at it, trying to win the Bitcoin mining business, and when the government of China, decides to get into business and gives away the energy for free, you're just going to be laughing and chuckling because you're going to be making all this money off of all those people. You don't want to fight them. You just want to ride on their coattails up. If you're going to be in business, then what you want to be is you want to be the guy that goes and you launch the new Bitcoin wallet and you raise $100 million in capital from one of these crypto VC firms. Go raise 100 million capital, put 80 million into Bitcoin, spend 20 million on your business, and then borrow against the Bitcoin and then make a run at it. And if your digital wallet is better than Square or better than PayPal or better than Apple or Google, then maybe, good for you.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.